Hey everyone, it's Mr. Franklin. So today we're diving into a topic that's super relevant, maybe even a little bit, dare I say, woke. But before you click away, hear me out. We're talking about inclusion, specifically for straight white men. Now I know what you might be thinking. Another video about privilege? Haven't we heard enough? And you know what? Maybe you have. Maybe you're tired of feeling like you're walking on eggshells, worried about saying the wrong thing. Trust me, I get it. But here's the thing. Inclusion isn't about making anyone feel guilty or silenced. It's not about taking anything away from anyone. It's about recognizing that we all have a role to play in creating spaces where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. So let's unpack this a bit, shall we? You know, often when we talk about diversity and inclusion, it can feel like there's this narrative that straight white men are being excluded. And listen, I understand that feeling, but what if we shifted our perspective a little? What if, instead of focusing on exclusion, we focused on participation? See, woke culture, as some call it, isn't about pushing anyone out. It's about making space for voices that have been historically marginalized, voices that haven't always had the same platform or opportunities. It's about recognizing that our experiences, even though they might be different, are all valuable and worthy of being heard. And that's where we come in. Our role isn't to dominate the conversation or to center ourselves in every narrative. It's to listen, to learn, and to find ways to use our privilege, yes, our privilege, to amplify those voices that have been silenced for far too long. So, how do we actually do this? How do we move from a place of feeling excluded to a place of genuine participation? Well, it starts with building relationships, real, authentic connections with people who are different from us. And I don't mean just following someone on social media or liking their posts. I mean having real conversations, asking questions, and genuinely listening to the answers. You'd be amazed at what you can learn from someone when you approach them with curiosity and respect, even if you don't agree on everything, because here's the beautiful thing about human connection. It has this incredible way of breaking down barriers and revealing our shared humanity. When we take the time to get to know someone, to understand their story, their experiences, it becomes a lot harder to see them as other. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but Brandon, what about all the things we disagree on? And yeah, there will be disagreements. There will be times when we see the world through different lenses. But here's the thing, social justice isn't a zero-sum game. It's not about one group winning and another group losing. It's about creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, where everyone has access to the same rights and opportunities, regardless of their race, gender, sexual orientation, or any other aspect of their identity. And you know what? That benefits all of us. When we create a more just and equitable society, we all win. So, let's focus on the things we have in common, on our shared values of empathy, fairness, and compassion. Let's work together to create a world where everyone feels like they belong. Being a straight white man in today's world can feel complicated. We're often told that we're part of the problem, that we're the oppressors, and while it's important to acknowledge the ways in which our privilege has benefited us, it's also important to remember that we're not defined by our privilege. We have the power to choose how we use our privilege. We can use it to perpetuate systems of oppression, or we can use it to dismantle those systems and create a more just and equitable world. We can choose to be allies. Now, allyship isn't about being perfect. It's not about always saying the right thing or doing the right thing. It's about showing up, even when it's uncomfortable, and using our voices to amplify the voices of those who are marginalized. It's about being willing to listen, to learn, and to grow. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, Brandon, but what about those times when I do feel excluded? What about those times when I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, afraid to say the wrong thing? And yeah, those feelings are real. It's okay to feel excluded. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. But here's the thing, instead of letting those feelings fester and turn into resentment, let's talk about them. Let's have open and honest conversations about why we're feeling that way. Is it because the space is unfamiliar? Is it because we're afraid of saying the wrong thing? Or is it because we're feeling challenged in ways that we're not used to? Whatever the reason, let's bring it to the table with respect and a willingness to listen and learn. One of the best ways to combat feelings of exclusion is to show up, even when it's uncomfortable. Go to that event, join that group, engage in that conversation. It might feel awkward at first. You might not know what to say or how to act, but that's okay. We all start somewhere. The important thing is that you're there, that you're present, and that you're willing to listen and learn. And you know what? Over time, as you continue to show up, as you continue to listen and learn, you'll start to feel more comfortable. You'll start to build relationships. You'll start to see the world through different lenses, and you might even start to enjoy yourself. Here's the thing about inclusion: it's not a destination. It's not a checkbox that we can tick off and say, okay, we're done. It's an ongoing journey, a process of continuous learning and growth. There will be times when we mess up. There will be times when we say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, but that's okay. What matters is that we learn from our mistakes, that we apologize when necessary, and that we continue to strive to do better, because the world is changing and we need to change with it. We need to be open to new ideas, new perspectives, and new ways of being. And we need to do it together. Look, I know this is a lot to process. Inclusion work can be challenging, even daunting at times. But the key is to approach these spaces with humility, empathy, and a willingness to grow. It's about understanding that we all have a role to play in creating a more just and equitable world. A world where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. Over time, as you engage authentically, you'll likely find that inclusion becomes a natural part of the dynamic. It's not about erasing who you are, but rather about expanding your understanding of the world and your place in it. So let's have those tough conversations. Let's challenge each other to be better. And let's work together to create a world where everyone feels like they belong. Thanks for watching.